Do you accept that we are going to Brexit, or do you still think there is a chance of stopping it happening?
I accept that it's likely, but I actually do think that there is a growing view in the country, being led by business, a lot of MPs actually who, if only could find the courage to say so, that this is the wrong thing for the country to do, and that we have to think again.
Are you a Democrat? Are you a Democrat?
Right,
we did vote to leave.
Yes, we did. We voted to elect you a few years back, and then we got rid of you. Democracy is not
I got re-elected.
Alastair, let me give a hypothetical. Had we voted to stay, to remain, right? And John Redwood was sitting here now saying, I want to have another referendum. I want to stop this. What would you be saying to him?
He would be saying that, by the way. Wait a minute.
Again,
Nigel Farage, if you remember...
What would you be saying to him?
I'd be saying he's entitled to argue his corner.
No, you wouldn't. You'd be saying this was a democratic vote by the people of this country. You know you would. Why are you being so... Well, I was about to say, why are you being so disingenuous? You're Alastair Campbell.
Piers, thank you very much indeed. Why are you being so obnoxious?
You know... Well, I'm not being obnoxious, I'm being factual. You know, if the situation was reversed, you would be making exactly the same points.
Let me answer you, Piers.
That's my point.
I know what your point is. Let me answer it. If John Redwood had lost the referendum, as Nigel Farage has made clear, they would have carried on campaigning. John Redwood and his
I wouldn't have done that.
Wait a minute, John. You've campaigned all your life for this.
What I would have done.
You've campaigned all your life for this. Yeah. I believe if you have a voice, as I do, if you have a platform, as I do, you're entitled to say what you think. I think this is a catastrophe for the country, and I have to fight it.
Of course you do. That's fine, and everyone respects your right to
And I respect the result, but it doesn't. It's not set in stone.
But you don't respect the result.
It's not set in stone.
Because when I heard Tony Blair, for instance, recently, he is trying behind the scenes and, in fact, popping his head over the parapet a few times, trying very hard to stop this happening, to go against the democratic will of the people. I voted Remain. I don't really agree with what we're doing. However, I absolutely respect that the referendum was a resounding win for Brexit.
One, it wasn't resounding. Two,
it was resounding.
At what cost?
17.5 million people.
You keep saying, wait a minute, you keep saying, you lot keep saying it's the biggest ever democratic mandate. Yeah. On that basis, Remain was the second biggest ever. Democracy is a process, not a moment.
You sound like Hillary Clinton. I won the popular vote. Yeah. So what? You lost.
Well, you can respect the result, but still campaign against what happens.
Look, Nicola Sturgeon hasn't given up on independence. No. He didn't give up on coming out of the
John
European
Redwood,
Union.
Yes, I did. When we had the first referendum, I accepted the verdict, and for 20 years I said, we've got to make the best of this.
And you never gave up, John.
Do you remember when David Cameron announced there was going to be a referendum and it was going to settle this for a generation?
Exactly.
John Redwood,
and it was going to be easy to make trade deals. Remember that?
What is nothing is settled. John Redwood, what is the danger that we've raised this prospect that the EU will punish the UK for leaving, and that therefore a good trade deal is not going
Alastair,
to be possible?
I do wish you to stick to your views. I don't want them to punish us. I don't think they can punish us. The worst they can do is to impose tariffs on the things we sell to them. We will obviously then put tariffs on the things that they sell to us. We will collect a lot more tariff revenue than they will collect. We should rebate it all to British customers. It doesn't hurt us. It will hurt them because their industries will get a bit knocked around.
John, on the divorce bill, where do you think we should end up with that? What would be a reasonable... I think in any divorce, you've got to get your chequebook out, right?
This is not a divorce, and there are no children, fortunately.
It is a divorce.
The answer is zero.
Hang on.
It's one side walking away.
There is a divorce, and actually there are 3 million children from the EU in this country who will be directly affected by this divorce, and there are over 1 million British people in the European Union who will be affected by it. There are a lot of children, in fact, real children, in those numbers, who will be directly impacted by the decisions taken by politicians as part of Brexit. So the analogy is completely correct, in fact.
No, it's not.
And there are 3 million people living in this country with their kids, asking themselves, what are we going to do? My point to you is, when I say divorce, you say whatever we do, right?
We change our relationship with the EU because we're ceasing to be a member, but we want to be very friendly with a very positive partnership. And we should pay absolutely zero.
Nothing.
Wow.
Incredible.
Alastair?
I mean, I'm sorry, they're delusional, these people. They're utterly delusional. This is the guy who tweeted the other day slagging off Philip Hammond because his economic forecasts weren't positive enough.
Just to clarify, only one of you two, I believe, has gone in print saying you might be slightly mad. and it wasn't Redwood.
I accept. I've been honest about it.
Alistair, did you see the Treasury's forecast saying we're going to have a recession last winter, which they got wrong? They were too pessimistic. That was all I was saying.
Do you think...
There's not... Can I just answer... What was your question again, Piers, before you went off down that
Well, the question was, how much should we pay as a divorce bill?
If you're actually right about the divorce. You're right about the divorce, but you're also wrong in this regard. If you're talking about a divorce, one side is leaving and saying, "I'm leaving, and I want the house, and I want the car, and I want the kids."
Okay, but I remember interviewing you. I remember interviewing you.
We have to acknowledge.
Let me put this to you.
We have to acknowledge our debts.
I understand your passion for this.
So how much? How much?
Yeah, well, give us a figure.
Well, I'm not involved in the negotiations.
What would be a reasonable payoff?
Well, you seem to know all about it. Tell us how much we should give and why.
Well, it's a negotiation. It is probably going to end up, and should end up, between what Theresa May is saying and what they're saying.
Give us a figure.
It'll be in the 50 billions.
Wow.
50 billion.
It'll be in the tens of billions. And that, actually, when you look at what we're losing in terms of trade, that actually is going to be a fairly small sum to settle in what we can get in the future. When you came on after the referendum result, I remember asking you, what will this be like for us? And you went, it will be financially disastrous immediately. It already is.
No, but
the pound.
It hasn't been.
Piers, can I just give you one example? I know you care about...
The economy has not fallen off a cliff.
Let me just give you one example. You mentioned the European. I've got a piece in there last week about defence spending. Yeah. We are having to cancel defence orders because of what happened to the pound immediately after the referendum.
But the pound has also been very good for many businesses. The lower pound is good news.
But the pound has gone up against the dollar and the yen in the last few months. Is that because of Brexit, Alastair, or not?
Are you trying to tell me that there's been no economic impact of Brexit already?
No, there hasn't been
There's been none at all. So the people who went on holiday and found that they got less for their pound, that's had no impact.
The pound was falling before the vote. It fell a bit more after the vote, and then it started to go up.
They live in La La Land, these people.
What about the value of the euro?
Ideologically fixated.
What about the value of the euro?
What about it?
That's been falling too.
Yeah, but Piers, I'm not saying it's all down to Brexit. I'm saying Brexit is a factor.
But you're blaming the falling pound on Brexit.
Let me just say, I'm just sitting in your green room. Just today, you've got the head of the Royal College of GPs saying that because of Brexit, they can't get enough doctors into the NHS. You've got the city saying city analysts saying they're relocating. You've got the Resolution Foundation saying £500.
Most people in the city have not been relocating. That's the point.
I'm telling you, an analysis in the papers today.
We don't want to go and work in Frankfurt.
Deutsche Bank has just rented out a new 465,000 square foot building.
Are
you saying there has been no economic impact of Brexit?
No, it hasn't happened yet. Have you not noticed? We're still in the EU. Anything that's happening economically at the moment is about being in the EU.
I do agree. Cameron and Osborne, Project Fear, made a mistake.
Project Fear on both sides.
Project Fear versus Project Lies. It was a dreadful campaign.
Final question.
But what's happening now will make Project Fear look like a party.
When I was editor of the Daily Mirror, we used to speak a lot, most days actually, to our mutual distaste. But I remember
twice a week, Matt.
I remember you pushing me very, very hard, and we went along with this to back Britain entering the euro, right?
Yes.
And the Mirror backed it wholeheartedly. And the reason you kept telling me was it will be, to quote you, it'll be a complete disaster financially for this country if we don't, Piers. You've got to do this. You've got to show your national duty. And guess what? We didn't enter the euro. It turned out to be the best thing this country ever did. Was not doing what
you should thank me for that one, Alistair.
So why should we trust him now?
He insists on fighting old battles.
Piers, may I say, first of all, I have
Do you dispute that conversation?
I do dispute it, and my diaries are more accurate than yours.
Absolutely not.
Because you admitted they were written after the fact. Let me say also, can I answer this question?
You can answer whatever you like.
This question. Piers, may I answer the question?
Did you tell me that or not?
I presented loyally the position of the then Prime Minister Tony Blair. Was I ever personally that much in favour of the euro?
Here's my point.
That is a red herring.
Here's my point.
Are we better off in or out of the European Union? We're better off in.
I remember apocalyptic...
Is this a disaster?
I remember...
Yes, it is.
The last time I remember this kind of debate over Europe was about the euro. Exactly. I remember apocalyptic warnings if we didn't enter it, and they were driven by you.
No deal.
And you're now making the same warnings about Europe.
No
and I simply say
I'm not the Royal
I have
College
a long
of GPs.
memory.
I'm not the Royal College of GPs. I'm not these airlines saying they're not going to be able to fly planes the day after his cliff edge.
The planes will fly. There is no cliff edge.
Are you going to fly them? You're a pilot as well.
No, I'm not a pilot. Don't be stupid.
Remember, we record all these things for posterity. John Redwood, Alastair Campbell, thanks very much indeed.
We should leave it on I'm not a pilot, says John Redwood.